Imagine a day that irrevocably alters a nation's ethical fabric and becomes a turning point in history. For hundreds in My Lai, and for millions who would later learn about the tragic events, March 16, 1968 is such a day. In revisiting this haunting chapter of American history today, our goal isn't to sensationalize, but to ensure that we never forget. Let's delve in. The Vietnam War serves as a crucial period in US history, casting enduring influences over both our international and domestic agendas. Beginning in the early 1960s and persisting through the mid-1970s, America's role in Vietnam led to profound ideological discord, not only within the United States, but also on the global stage. Initially widespread anti-communist sentiments fueled broad support for the war at home. However, as the years passed and the casualty numbers climbed, public sentiment began to wane. Influential protests, the unveiling of the Pentagon Papers, and graphic media portrayals of suffering and chaos all eroded trust in the US government's approach to the conflict. By early 1968, American troops were feeling the weight of collective disillusionment. The Tet Offensive had recently shattered any lingering hopes for a quick victory. Soldiers found themselves navigating guerrilla warfare, elaborate traps, and an indistinguishable enemy. Morale hit rock bottom, while mistrust of the local Vietnamese population, often suspected of aiding the Viet Cong, willingly or under duress, became widespread. Under these circumstances, US soldiers felt immense pressure to demonstrate success through enemy body counts. Some argue that this created a breeding ground for war crimes. Racial and cultural biases further poisoned the atmosphere, dehumanizing not only the enemy, but sometimes also innocent civilians. Units like Charlie Company, which participated in the My Lai massacre, exemplify the tragic confluence of these factors. On the fateful morning of March 16, 1968, about 100 soldiers from Charlie Company, under the command of Lieutenant William Calley, descended upon the hamlets of My Lai in Quang Ngai Province. Their objective was a search and destroy mission to eliminate Viet Cong fighters. Instead, the ensuing hours would stain American military history indelibly. Upon landing, the soldiers commenced rounding up villagers, segregating males from females and children. Initially, the operation appeared to be a search for weapons or Viet Cong material. However, it swiftly devolved into chaos. Lieutenant Calley commanded the execution of the villagers, later alleging that he was simply following orders. Soldiers committed sexual assaults, mutilated the deceased, and devastated homes and livestock. By midday, between 347 and 504 unarmed South Vietnamese civilians, primarily women, children, and elderly people, lay dead. First-hand testimonies from both survivors and soldiers offer a grim narrative. Some soldiers argued they were merely obeying orders, fearing reprisals for insubordination. Others expressed horror but felt paralyzed to intervene. Warrant Officer Hugh Thompson, a helicopter pilot, courageously landed his aircraft between the soldiers and surviving villagers, ultimately testifying against the perpetrators. Survivors relayed their harrowing experiences in excruciating detail. Tales of sexual assaults were recounted, and others shared the agony of losing entire families. Phan Phan Kong, an 11-year-old survivor, escaped death by hiding under his deceased siblings, although he lost his mother and 4 siblings. These eyewitness accounts, corroborated by army photographs, played a pivotal role in subsequent investigations and trials. Despite attempts to bury the incident, these narratives helped to expose the My Lai massacre to the world. History isn't merely a list of dates and events. It's a reflection of humanity at its most raw. Let's make never again more than a catchphrase. It's a commitment we owe to ourselves and future generations. The power for change is in your hands.